Hi everyone, Beth Ray here with MyCounselor.Online, and today I'm talking to Josh Spurlock. He's the director for MyCounselor.Online, and we're discussing the Affair Recovery Guide Part 4 article, and it is who to talk to and when after you have discovered that your spouse is having an affair. And like I have said at the intro of almost every one of these articles, it is so good to read if you're somebody that is looked to for support. So you may not be the person going through it, but somebody that needs your support. And this article really helps you know the kind of support that you need to be. So Josh, we start off this article with talking about safe people, and you really narrow it down to what kind of characteristics these people need to have. Can you share with us a few of those?
Absolutely. And I want to caveat on the front end that says when we talk about safe people versus not safe people, we're not necessarily talking about good people or not good people, because that can be confusing. That there can be very good people in your life that are not very safe to work through the situation with. For example, you may have a family member who loves you very much, who is a great person, a great Christian, great individual, but they're just too close to the situation to really be able to be a safe person for you. That in sharing with them their own emotions, their own fears, their own struggles, that are connected to the situation get in the way of them being able to be to you what you need in the situation. And so we want to differentiate and take good and bad out of the question in terms of the character, the nature of the people, but instead think about helpful and not helpful as we discuss safe people versus not safe people for you to invite into your situation. But the characteristics of the people that you need in the circle with you, and you do need people in the circle with you. You can't get through this in a healthy way on your own. It's just not possible. That you're going to need support along the way, and you're going to need the right kind of support. Support that comes from folks that can accept you and love you unconditionally, that there's not strings attached. People that can be comfortable with the grief and the sorrow and the hard emotions that you're feeling. People that are not gossips, those that can keep confidence, those that are not going to try to give you unsolicited advice or try to fix you or try to fix your spouse, but are going to be there for you, listen to you, and just kind of process the situation with you. People that don't need your love or approval in order to be okay, because sometimes you're going to be frustrated and you're not necessarily going to be rational at certain points in the process. And if those individuals can't handle those intense emotions for you, they're not going to be very good sounding board for you in that. So these are the kinds of characteristics, and there's some more that we talk about in the article that you're looking for within safe people. What you want to avoid are folks that are going to be condemning or deny or minimize the ugliness of the situation, or try to fix you, try to fix your spouse, do give unwanted advice, and try to tell you what you need to do or what you should do in the course of navigating through this. Folks that can't handle your intense emotion, they need you to be happy, they need you to be hopeful, that they can't handle those moments and times when you're overwhelmed, you're discouraged, you're not hopeful, you're not happy. Those folks are really going to get in the way and sabotage you from doing the work that you need to do.
Well, I think whenever you actually read through the characteristics of the type of support person that you're looking for, I think, Josh, anybody that would read through this list would think, man, that narrows it down to maybe one or two people, if you're lucky enough to have that kind of person in your life. But for the majority of people, that doesn't include your college roommate that's been your best friend for 20 years, that is very much on your side. That might not include your sibling that just totally has your back. And it might not be those people, which was very eye-opening for me. You say that one of the main criteria should be somebody that has a good relationship with their own spouse. And this next part I feel like is a big one. Who cares very much equally about you and your spouse, who hasn't burned that bridge, in defense of you, that is very much on board with the betterment of you and the spouse that has betrayed you. And those are difficult people to find. And you would think the safe people are the people that are in our direct circle, but this article actually debunks that thought. And so what kind of people are we talking about here, Josh? Because it's not your Aunt Susan or Sister Amy, it's other people. So who are these people?
Well, the truth is that you need a variety of folks in your circle, and there's definitely ideal people, but most of us, a lot of us don't have ideal people. And so we talked through certainly the picture of the ideal people to have in your corner and the characteristics that you're looking for. But if you try to go through and tick off every box on the list of ideal characteristics, you might eliminate everybody in your world in that. And so you need different things from different people at different times. And it can be okay to have the college roommate or the sibling that is just 100% in your corner. They love you. They can't stand whomever for how they've hurt you and wounded you. And they're going to be a venting place for you to just be able to go to, and you can know what their response is going to be before you even pick up the phone, that they're just going to have your back and be all in for you. There's moments when you need that. There's times where that is useful and that's valuable. But if that's the only voice you have in your circle, if that's the only voice you have in your corner, it's really going to sabotage you and hurt you in getting through this process. And so sometimes in the course of assembling who's in the circle with you and providing the support that you need to get through this, sometimes you're looking to different people for different things. And you're going, at sometimes I need this, and this is the person in my circle that I can go to for that. At other times I need something different, and I have that person that I go to for when I'm having need of that. And that helps to balance out our situation. But you're absolutely right in that it is normal for us to look at our situation and go, I just don't see anybody in that. And when we're looking at the immediate folks around us, or the most likely candidates in our mind. But what we find is that in an amazing way that God places people in our life for this season of our life that we're going through. And very often it's not people whom we initially think of, and it's not necessarily people whom we've had an intimate relationship with or a close relationship with in the past. But God has placed them in our sphere for this season of our life. And we really can count on the Lord to bring those people to our mind and to our attention in a way that says, maybe I need to reach out to this person. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's somebody at church whom you have respect for, but have never had a close relationship to, or that you've admired the way that they interact with their spouse. And there's some maturity there that you go, I haven't had cause to be in relationship with them, but I've admired them from a distance, and, and maybe they have the kind of character that could be helpful. And just feel that put on your heart. It's maybe these folks that are good candidates to invite into your situation. And we can feel awkward about inviting people in our situation for a variety of different reasons, right? It's embarrassing that we're going through this. It's vulnerable. It's scary. There's a lot of things that can get in the way of us feeling like we can invite folks in, but we've got to kind of pull our courage together and reach out to folks. And it's fairly straightforward and easy how you do that. It doesn't have to be super elaborate or complex, but just invite somebody to lunch or to coffee and tell them that you're going through some stuff in your life, in your situation, and that you have a lot of respect for them and would like to talk with them about it if they'd be open to it. And you certainly want to respect if they're not available, but don't assume that they're not. We can have this thing where we're afraid, we don't want to be a burden to other people in that. And we assume they've got their own troubles and they don't have time to deal with my stuff. And so we write them off, or we tell ourselves no on their behalf without ever giving them an opportunity to engage. And the truth is that God has placed us in the body to be a blessing to others and to bear each other's burdens in each season and that. And God has placed some people in your life for them to be a conduit of his grace into your situation. And you don't want to rob yourself of being the recipient of God's grace through them. And you don't want to rob them of the opportunity of being God's conduit of grace into your situation and that. And so put it out to them. Many people are willing to give support, and very often God is at work within their heart to prepare them to do that and be that for you also. And so you can ask them, and define for them what it is that you need and what it is that you're looking for, right? Because many people, they want to be helpful, but they just are not sure how to be helpful. They're like, sure, I would love to help. I don't really know what it is I'm supposed to do. What is it that you need from me? So you can make it really easy for folks by just making it clear to them what it is you have need of them and what you don't need. That way they understand what it is they're being asked for, and tell them that you need someone to be a sounding board for you, that you can bounce things off of. Tell them that you don't expect them to fix the situation or fix your spouse, and you don't necessarily need advice for them. They don't have to have all the answers in that you're getting counsel in your life and you're looking at others. You don't need them to be all knowing, which a lot of times is intimidating to folks. They're like, oh no, you're asking me. I don't know anything. I don't know how to be helpful. I don't know which direction to point you. And so you can let them off the hook by just saying, I'm not looking for you to have all the right answers or to tell me what to do. I just need to be able to process and share what it is I'm going through and have someone praying for me and be able to be a support in my corner who can listen and that can care about the things that I'm going through. I don't need you to take my side or my spouse's side. Those aren't the things that I have need from you. I just need someone that can be able to be there for me and whom I can pick up the phone and call and interact with, and when I'm having some tough things going on, and let them know that they're not going to be your sole source of support, because that can be overwhelming. Be like, man, I got a lot of stuff going on in my life. I don't know if I have enough time or energy or resources to be there for this person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and everything that they've got going on. And the truth is that they don't have that, and it's not fair for you to look for them for all of your support in that. But they can be a part of your support amongst others that you can lean on in order to get through this in a healthy way.
Well, as you do so often in your articles, Josh, there's a whole list of things that you can say and approaches you can take when you are actually talking to people. So if you want to check out the article and look at that, it's so helpful and really gives you a direction for, like you said, Josh, how to just bring this up out of the blue with somebody that really like you said, you don't see on a regular basis. So very helpful information there. You also said something in the article that I thought was very good for people to know. You said that you need to connect with support people, whether your spouse is comfortable with it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a common question, because especially where a spouse has been betraying and they have broken the relationship. There's embarrassment, there's shame around that, and there's a desire to hide, to be secretive. They don't want anybody to know, and so they can be very resistant to their spouse talking with anybody. And it's incredibly selfish in that, because it's really just about, I don't want my dirt to be out there and be seen. I don't want that embarrassment. And so even though it means you being alone, you not having support, and it not being really what's in the best interest of you, I'm really only caring about myself in the situation, which is just not okay. And you, as a betrayed spouse in a situation, need to avail yourself of the support people that God has placed in your life in order to be able to help you through this situation and that. And don't allow the bullying or intimidation or kind of self-preservation, protectiveness of a spouse keep you from being able to access the support that God wants you to have in order for you to get through this in a healthy way.
So this article, I know it sounds like it's all about who to talk to and when, and that has to do with your support, but it also addresses when and how to talk to your kids, which is a huge subject that I think is very important to talk about, and when and how to talk to affair partners and if that is helpful or not. So when it comes to kids, Josh, in this article, you have kind of, do's and don'ts, tips and advice on how to go about this incredibly delicate process.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the big tips that we would have for you is to resist a sense of urgency to do so. And that very often we feel like we need to tell our kids something, and we need to tell them now, and this needs to get out there. And while it is important to communicate some things to the kids so that they have some framework for making sense of the weirdness that's going on in the world around them, you want to be cautious in what you share and when you share it, and make sure that it's going to be helpful to the kids. And so some of the tips that we give along the way of that, is to not make promises to the kids that you can't keep, that you can't see the future. And so if you make promises about the future, you are in danger of creating problems for yourself as well as the kids as you go through the process. You want to, stay at a level of detail that is appropriate for kids. They're depending on the age of the children, there's a level of detail that's not helpful to them. But you want to be honest with them also. And you can communicate things like, mom and dad are having a tough time right now. We're going through something very hurtful. Maybe mom has been very hurt by dad in the situation. And so maybe we're separated. Maybe we're not going to be under the same roof for a little while as we're figuring out what to do. And it's not your fault. And you didn't cause this and you can't fix this. But that's what's going on right now. And we're going to get through this, and you're going to be okay, and we love you, and it's going to be all right, which is things that you can communicate that are truthful and are at a level of detail that helps them make some sense of some of the weird dynamics that they're seeing, that they don't understand why certain things are happening, and helps them be assured that they're going to be okay, which is an important thing for them to know for their security.
Absolutely. And just opening up the dialogue with them so they feel like there's a safe place for them to come and ask questions, as opposed to, just trying to get through it and not realizing how observant they actually are and that they know something's off, something's strange. So all of that is incredibly helpful advice. Let's talk about affair partners, Josh, because that's something that, I have watched a friend of mine go through where she just wanted to go and talk to them, and really not in a threatening sort of, I want to punch you way. Surprisingly for me, it was more of I just want to ask, I have kids. What were you thinking? What happened? Really just wanting information. So is that smart? Is that not smart to do? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, smart and not smart are great ways to think about the situation, because there really isn't a right or wrong answer about the situation. It's not right in what you need to do to confront an affair partner. It's not wrong to do so, even though oftentimes the betrayed spouse is adamantly opposed to that taking place. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong to do so in that. And so we really encourage folks to talk through with their support people, talk through with a counselor, the pros and cons to doing so, why they would, why they might not, to help them think through aspects of the situation that they might not be considering, and how that could create difficulties for their kids, how that might create difficulties in their community down the road, how that might create difficulties in the relationship that they do decide to reconcile. There's all these different dynamics that ought to be considered and thought about before that decision is made. And so, as with many of these decisions, certainly encourage folks to not feel not act under a false sense of urgency that I've got to talk to this person or address this situation or confront it now. And in this moment that I'm feeling this intense emotion that probably sets it up to go poorly instead of being helpful, but instead to wisely evaluate the decision. And sometimes that is to confront the affair partner, and sometimes it's not. And it's completely legitimate to want to hurt someone that you feel like has hurt you. I'm not saying that you should do that. That's not advisable. Usually isn't very helpful in the situation. But it's pretty normal to have that feeling when you're going through something like this. So that would be kind of how we would encourage folks to approach that question, and to hopefully get some counsel about that along the way.
Well, this is an incredibly detailed article, and again, a very practical one that discusses how to find the support you need, how to talk to your kids, what to do with affair partners. So much information. We really hope you go to MyCounselor.Online and take a look at this one. It's very good in helping you build that first kind of foundational step in healing and getting the people in your life that speak life to you and help you through it. Check it out at MyCounselor.Online, called the Affair Recovery Guide Part 4, Who to Talk to and When.